There's a strange silence in the gospel world. Not the kind that comes after a powerful worship set, but the kind that follows a funeral no one wants to talk about. They had voices that could crack open the heavens, but when they died, so did the conversation. No tributes, no documentaries, just rumors. He was sick. She just faded away. We don't talk about that here, but we should. Let's get into their stories, not to condemn, but to remember, reflect, and reclaim the fullness of their lives. It's disclaimer. Some of these stories are based on personal testimonies, community whispers, and archived interviews. While not all are confirmed in public records, each reflects the reality of silence many gospel figures endured. First of one, the James Cleveland. In 1991, the gospel world was shaken when he passed away at just 59. Officially, it was respiratory failure and heart disease. After his death, whispers about complications from AIDS began to circulate, and later, lawsuits and testimonies gave those whispers weight. Cleveland's death sparked a firestorm of denial, grief, and outrage. It also opened the door for deeper conversations about sexuality, silence, and the unspoken battles within gospel culture. 2. Howard "Happy" Goodman. Behind the music of the Happy Goodman family lies a quieter, more painful subplot few discuss. Rumors circulated in Southern gospel circles about a family member who passed from AIDS-related causes. Though not often named in public spaces, gospel insiders whispered about a silent fallout. Songs no longer sung, names no longer mentioned. It's a cautionary tale, how fear of shame can erase even the most faithful voices from history. 3. Reverend Timothy Wright's choir member. Reverend Timothy Wright led one of the most electrifying choirs in New York. Among his earlier choir members, one gifted male vocalist faded from the scene suddenly. Years later, fellow choir members quietly confirmed he had passed from AIDS-related illness. His name may never be famous, but heaven remembers his voice. Keith Barrow. He was the son of a civil rights warrior, Reverend Willie Taplin Barrow. Growing up in a household charged with the spirit of justice and faith, Keith's soulful vocals carried the depth of a man who knew struggle and hope intimately. His music was raw, honest, and filled with that unique blend of disco energy and soulful emotion that made people feel alive. Beneath the bright lights, Keith's life was cut short. In 1983, at just 29 years old, he became one of the earliest artists lost to AIDS. His death was a harsh early blow to a world just beginning to grapple with the epidemic, a reminder of the silent battles fought behind the scenes. 5. Sylvester James, known not just for his jaw-dropping falsetto, but for owning his truth with a fierce flamboyance that lit up every stage. Sylvester was a bold, unapologetic presence who used his music and persona to break barriers, especially for the LGBTQ+ community, long before it was common or safe to do so. His voice was a beacon of liberation, and his style was pure celebration. Yet, despite the joy he brought to so many, Sylvester also faced the dark cloud of AIDS, passing away in 1988. But even in death, his legacy is immortal, an anthem of courage, love, and unapologetic authenticity that still inspires generations today. 6. Kenny Green. He was a member of the smooth R&B group Intro. His voice wrapped around hearts, and his songwriting skills, next level. He wrote hits for stars like Mary J. Blige, crafting the soundtrack of a generation's love and pain. Kenny was carrying a heavy secret. In 2001, he courageously stepped into the light and revealed he was bisexual and battling AIDS. In a world that wasn't always ready for truth, especially from someone like him, this was a bold move, raw, real, and deeply human. Sadly, just months after his revelation, on October 1st, 2001, Kenny Green passed away at just 32 years old. His fight ended too soon, but his legacy lives on, in the songs he gave the world and the bravery he showed by sharing his story. Kenny reminds us that behind every melody, there's a story, sometimes full of light, sometimes shadowed by pain, but always worth telling. Daryl Coley. Though publicly noted as diabetes, rumors abound. Now this one's sensitive. Daryl Coley, one of the most angelic male voices in gospel, officially died from diabetes complications in 2016. But years prior, there had been strong rumors, fueled by weight changes and sudden hospitalizations, suggesting a more complex health battle. Some sources claimed HIV/AIDS was involved, though it was never confirmed. Regardless of what was left unspoken, Coley's voice remains timeless, echoing grace in every run and riff. Leroy Whitfield. Diagnosed with HIV at 19, he used his pen to speak about what the church stayed silent on: sexuality, stigma, and survival. He refused treatment not out of denial, but from years of side effects and deep mistrust. In 2005, he died at just 36 from AIDS-related complications. But he never stopped writing, never stopped telling the truth. Leroy's voice was a ministry, not in song, but in bold, uncomfortable honesty. 9. Carl Bean. He started in gospel choirs but made history when he recorded "I Was Born This Way," a bold anthem of LGBTQ+ pride and faith. He later founded the Unity Fellowship Church, creating a safe space for queer Black believers and those affected by HIV/AIDS. Though his death in 2021 was listed as a lengthy illness, his legacy is forever tied to the fight against silence, stigma, and rejection in the church. Carl Bean was a gospel singer, a prophet, a builder, and a warrior. 10. Anonymous choir lead, representing the forgotten. Let's be honest, there are many whose names we'll never know. Choir leads, directors, musicians, background vocalists, ministers of music, men, and some women who carried burdens in silence because the church was too afraid to talk about disease, sexuality, or brokenness. This spot is for them, the anonymous faithful, the unheard legends. Their songs mattered, their lives mattered. These gospel legends were more than their diagnosis. They were voices that carried us. Now it's time we carry their stories, with honesty, with honor, and with healing. Let this video be a reminder that the church must be a hospital, not a courtroom, a sanctuary, not a silence chamber. If this touched you, let's talk about it in the comments. Share a memory of a gospel voice that changed your life, or just drop a prayer for those still hiding in silence. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold truths behind gospel music's golden age. This isn't the end of the story. It's the start of real conversations.